Hey there. Welcome to the Eff Your Fears Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Monique Menard. I'm so stoked for today. You guys, today we have a writer, he's a director, he's a filmmaker, he creates work, gets it out there, and also loves to help creators get their work out there. Yes, you guessed it. He's the founder of the New Jersey Web Fest. His name is Neem Basha. Neem Basha is on the show. I love him. I love his festival. We had such an amazing time whenever we went 2 years ago. It was over in Jersey. We drove out there. It was such a great feeling. And they really took care of us and made us feel like we were just part of the family and feel so special. So if you are a filmmaker out there and you have a web series that you'd like to get out there, you want people to be able to see it, you got to submit it to the New Jersey Web Fest. And we're going to talk more about the New Jersey Web Fest throughout this episode. Before we bring out Neem, creating a web series is extremely time consuming. As if you're a filmmaker out there and you're watching this, you're like, yeah, I know. It's tough. It's tough. And so with a web series, it's a little bit easier than actually creating a full-on TV show. Someone's throwing their trash. Y'all saw that? Just don't. Oh, he's the super. He can do that. Anyway, so yeah, a web series is going to be just a short form TV show, and you can find it on the internet. And most of the time, a lot of these web series, they come out and they're just on YouTube. Although there are some hosting platforms specifically for web series like Sika TV. So basically, if you have a project inside your head and you want to get it out there into the universe, one of the best ways to kind of do that is just by doing a web series, because it doesn't have to be this big, long to do. You don't have to get a network to do it. You can produce it yourself. You can grab your friends, grab a camera, grab a mic, and just freaking do it. And so we've done that with Skeleton Crew and Demon Doctor, as well as The Art of Blowing It. And I gotta tell you, it's just been such an incredible experience. As I'm sure a lot of you out there who have created your own work, you can feel the same thing. Like, there is nothing better than having an idea for something, writing it down, talking about it with a few people, having them read it, and then you make it. Like, you're creating art. And I know we all strive for this. I want to get an Emmy. I mean, I even wrote a character named Emmy because I wanted to have an Emmy. I wanted an Emmy. So if anything, I got my own Emmy. Who cares? But what I'm trying to say is we have these ideas and we want to get our content out there. We want to get our work out there. We want our stuff to be seen. We want to be heard. We want the validation. Maybe it's because our parents didn't hold us enough as children. Maybe it's because our mother pinched our back fat and said that if I can see it, others can see it. Who knows? Everyone's got their different reasons. But I know that you've got something that makes you want to create inside you. You've got a story you want to tell. And one of the best ways to be able to do it is by creating a web series. And so that's why I was so excited that Neem decided to come on the show, because I love his film festival. Neem Basha is the co-founder of the New Jersey Web Fest. And I mean, he's created his own work. He's created, he's written, he's acted, he's directed. He also studied underneath one of Joan Rivers' writers on the Joan Rivers show. The specific writer that he worked with on that, let me just look up real quick. Yep. Barry Goldsmith on the Joan Rivers show. And I mean, Neem has won so many awards for his work on feature films as well as web series. And his work can be seen everywhere, from cable stations, Hulu, even the backseat of taxi cabs in New York City. And he's also got a People's Choice Award for the international audience of Valencia, Spain. I mean, he's done a bit of everything. And Neem's Themes is also super funny and has been seen online by over 25 million people. So when he said that he wanted to come on the show, I was like, oh my God, cool. Because I love talking to filmmakers, and Neem is such a passionate filmmaker first and foremost, which is why he wants creators to be able to get their content seen. And one of the best things about a film festival is that people get to see your stuff. People outside your circle, people outside that small community that you're trying to push your content into, and Facebook makes it hard to where people don't see it, and you try posting clips of it on Instagram and it's harder for people to be able to see it. If you're a web series creator and you want to get your stuff seen, you got to get it out there. And one of the best ways to do that is by getting it into the web series circuit. Get it into a festival. And the New Jersey Web Fest is such a good festival. So before we bring out Neem, what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you a bit about resiliency. Ooh, resiliency. Oh my God, you guys. It's so hard. It's so hard to stay resilient, right? It's so hard. It's so hard sometimes to keep a smile on your face. It's hard sometimes to keep your motivation after work and do a workout or to go for a walk, or it's so hard to get up and put a full face of makeup on because you know you need to do something, you want to look a certain sort of way. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Resilience. We need it though. How do we bounce back after setbacks? Let's say you've had 5 auditions last week, which I did. Didn't hear from anyone. It's tough. It's tough. How do you keep your shit going? So I came up with a top 10 list of ways to bounce back after setbacks. So number one is to develop a very strong core set of beliefs. What are your core set of beliefs? It could be 3 things. What's something that you just absolutely believe in? Everyone's core set of beliefs are different. Figure out what's yours and what's going to serve you, first and foremost. Number two would be try to find something meaningful whenever things get stressful or traumatic in your life. So find something that has meaning. This can be different for everyone. This could be religion. This can be meditation. This can be going for a walk. This can be listening to a podcast. This can mean writing. This can mean journaling. This can mean singing. This can mean so many different things. Painting, creating. So find something that gives you meaning in a stressful or traumatic moment. Find something that will bring you meaning. Okay? Number 3 is going to be try to maintain a positive outlook. Now, I know that there's that word toxic positivity, which pops up a lot, and I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole at all. What's super important is that when something bad is happening in life, I'm not saying for you to totally just disregard the bad thing that's happening, but having a positive outlook and reminding yourself that you will get through it, even if you're just saying, I'm going to get through this. That is a positive outlook as opposed to, how will I ever get through this? Giving yourself the reassurance that you can do something enables you to do it. So give yourself that reassurance. You owe it to yourself. Why? Because you're fucking amazing. Okay. So number 4, take cues from someone who is especially resilient. Who is someone in your life that you look up to and you think, wow, they just get it done. They get it done. See how they get it done. If it's someone that you really admire and they've recorded a podcast episode, go out there and find it and listen to it. If there's someone that you admire, I highly recommend figuring out how they got from point A to point B, because you'll get some little pebbles from their wisdom. And number 5, don't run away from things that scare you. Y'all, we talk a lot about fear on this show and how fear can stop you from doing things. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to start this show, so we could talk about ways that people deal with their fear. And so this one is so important. Running away from something that scares you stops you from growing. So if there's something that you're just not really sure that you want to try, and there's this thing inside you that's like, I just don't know if I'm going to be good at it. I don't know if I can do it. That's the fear that's telling you that you might not be able to do it. But what if you challenge yourself? What if you work yourself up to being able to do it? What if? I mean, it's your life. You can do whatever you want with it. But I've been making myself do things that scare me. And I do that because whenever I do get over that hump, I feel so much better. So much better. So moving on to number 6. Number 6, be quick to reach out for support when things go haywire. I am not good at reaching out for support, but whenever I do notice that it really, really helps. So reach out for support. Who's your sense of community? Who are those go-to people that you talk to? Of course, we don't want to just bombard people with all of our emotions all the time, but we do need to be able to vent We do need to be able to talk things through with someone. So find your sense of support. Who's your sense of support? And number 7, learn new things as often as you can. Oh, y'all, I'm at school at the Eastern Gateway Community College, and it's so cool learning about things, especially when it comes to social media and marketing. And I think it kind of goes for everything in life. Like learn more about something that you're interested in. Now we've had so much time to be able to do that. So keep utilizing that. Number 8, find an exercise or regimen that you can stick to. It's a tough one. I did recently just get a new yoga mat to put on top of my old yoga mat, so I have a little bit more support and some little knee pads for whenever I'm doing my yoga. So find an exercise regimen that you can actually stick with. Something that's, even if it's just 20 minutes a day that you're doing something, just get that body moving. Why? Because it is your temple. Make sure you can use it for as long as possible. Use your temple. Number 9, don't beat yourself up or dwell in the past. It is very easy to dwell on the past. I was literally walking down the street today and I was ruminating about something and I thought, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I don't need to be doing this. I do not need to be thinking about what I'm thinking about right now. What I'm thinking about is non-productive and it's not going to help me in life. Why do I keep doing this? And then I thought, you're not going to be happy doing this. You're not going to be happy thinking about this person. This person brings no value to your life. If they brought value, they'd be in your life. So don't beat yourself up and don't dwell about people from the past. Non-productive. And number 10, recognize what makes you strong and unique. And then own that. It's like Dolly Parton said. What did Dolly Parton say? Dolly Parton said, find what makes you you and then do it on purpose. Or find what makes you different and then do it on purpose. Something like that. Anyway, that's what you should do. So that's my little list of how to be resilient. I hope that it is helpful for you. I'm also really excited about our guest today. Neem Basha is such a smart guy. I'm so happy he came on the show and we were able to chat. So make sure that if you're a filmmaker and you want to submit your festival, you've got a few more days to do so. So make sure you do it. The deadline is on the 18th of April, 2021. If you miss this deadline this year, next year, you better be there or you'll be square, kid. Because it's New Jersey. That's how we talk over there. Yeah, forget about it, right? Yeah. All right, you guys. So let's do it. Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Neem Basha out. Is your current headshot a little outdated? Is it in black and white? Head over to Queen Self Tape and get yourself some new headshots. Gabe Awan's got affordable prices and can also help you with self-tapes. www.queenselftape.com. You guys, I'm so excited. We got Neem on the show. Neem Basha, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm really excited for you, actually. I'll tell you why. I was thinking this morning and I was like, I love it when artists just like come up with things that they want to do. Like, even creating like a little TikTok video, like creating just like a little thing. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm talking to Neem today. He created a festival. Like that's not like a little thing. Like that's like, I mean, that's pretty big.
It's a pretty big undertaking. It's definitely a creators festival.
Yeah.
As many people know, as the people that know me or have been to my festival know, I'm a creator first and foremost. As you can see from the shirt, this is my own web series called Neem's Themes. Folks can follow it on Facebook. We have daily comedy and conversation pieces that we post up. And going to festivals. I'm also a filmmaker before Neem's Themes. I've done a number of films. I've done a number of projects. Being in festivals, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, especially with film festivals, and then going off into the web fest circuit once I launched my series. And fall in love with that circuit. Mm-hmm. And seeing what I love about it. And then there came a point where I realized that there was no WebFest in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And
which seems like a travesty in its own.
And I thought to
I
myself,
mean, come on.
and I thought to myself, I mean, we're pretty much a New York
Yeah.
festival. We're in the shadow of New York City, and I thought to myself, I said, somebody, after now having been to Spain and having been to LA and Seoul and whatever with my own show, I'm like, it's pretty cool. It would be pretty cool if somebody launches a Web Fest in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that kind of aha moment where I was like, wait, I'm somebody. Well, I mean, if you go to our Film Freeway page, New Jersey Web Fest Film Freeway page, and you go through the reviews, the theme that people took away from it is that we felt appreciated, we felt valued.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to film festivals where my work is being featured at the festival, and I walk in and there's nobody there to greet you, or you check it at a table and nobody knows really who you are. That doesn't happen in the Web Fest circuit, to be clear.
No, not at all.
None of the web festivals I've been to have had that.
Uh-huh.
But film festivals, it's a whole nother animal. So I fell in love with the Web Fest energy, the Web Fest vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to give it my own, spin on doing something here in Jersey. And, it's one of those things that instead of just thinking about it and thinking someone should do it, just saying, let me just go ahead and do this, put myself in it 100%. And I had the support of other festival
Mm-hmm.
Founders from LA, the late Michael Jacque. He helped me out a lot in the beginning. Young Man Came and Soul. There was a number of folks that jumped on, liked the idea of partnering with the New Jersey Web Fest. And then I gave it the flavor that I wanted, and the sort of the pageantry and
which I like a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were there, and
Yeah, we had
congratulations on
such a
that.
great time.
You'll be with us in September again.
I'm so excited about it. I love the New Jersey Web Fest. We had so much fun. Skeleton Crew was in it the past couple of years, and I was only able to go to the one last year. Josh has gone to a couple of them, and he's had such a great time. So I was so excited when we were finally able to be there among all of the other creators, and just to feel that sense of community. You do such an amazing job making the creators feel like Hollywood royalty. Like I felt so good being there, and I saw how much fun everyone was having, and it's such a great environment. So if you are a creator out there and you have a little web series that you're like, I'd like to submit it, I'd like to get my show out there, and you're anywhere remotely close to the New York area, like you've got to go to the festival. If you can't actually make it though, you can still submit and you can still get your material seen. It needs to be, you spent so much time creating it. It needs to be seen. People need to see it. And Neem's got it going on with the New Jersey Web Fest. It's so much fun. So there's me gushing over you.
Well, thank you. I mean, that means a lot to me. Listen, here's the thing. Again, as a creator first, I mean, this isn't something that was created by just someone who just decided one day to wake up and make a film festival. Mm-hmm. This is a creator-centric festival for creators by creators. And so the whole idea is to make you feel exactly the way you're describing right now, and to make people feel special, because we all have friends, we all have family, we show them our work, to mixed reviews, or to mixed levels of giving
excitement.
A shit.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when creators can come into a room and celebrate each other, and I can kind of, because at the end of the day, I mean, you guys obviously are pivotal in that whole atmosphere that we have in New Jersey. And I kind of set the stage for that love fest to happen. And we have, we have the pageantry, and we have everything going on. It's great. And when folks feel valued, again, folks feel valued. I mean, Josh is one of our biggest fans, and even before our first festival, just like the promotion that we do for the shows and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
people really appreciate that. And this year is going to be a little bit extra special because we canceled last year.
Yeah.
Or we postponed it rather, which is why your shows are in, because we announced our 2020 selections and said, hey, listen, and then we were still iffy at that point because we didn't know how things were going to be. But then when it became clear that no one was going to be able to travel in September, no one was going to be able to be in the same room with each other, at least not comfortably.
Yeah.
We decided to, rather than hold the virtual one, we decided to have everyone kind of like take their show and be part of a live event. And so we extended submissions to April for the folks that didn't get a chance to get theirs in. We announced the ones that got their stuff in by last June. So it was a whole like brain trust going on to try to see how we can make it, how we can make this special for creators. So this September, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like in terms of like venues, in terms of like what the entire state of the world is going to be like with COVID and with everything else going on. But we do know we're going to have it in person, and it's going to kick ass because it's going to be like, I mean, the way you described our festival, exactly that. Even for people who are going to be there the first time, they show up, we know exactly who you are, we know what show you are, we give you, we greet you. It's going to feel like one big family reunion, and it's just going to be unbelievable. And this year, we have fiction podcasts as
Who doesn't love a podcast?
Yes. So we have web series, we have music videos, we have trailers, we have pilots, and we have now fiction podcasts.
So smart.
Have their own thing. So it's going to be an all-encompassing web fest. Because podcasts are web too.
Yeah.
When you consider the fact, and Ned Donovan, who's the genius behind the Hunted Encore, or one of the geniuses behind the Hunted Encore, came to me with the idea and said, listen, man, there's this community here, the WebFest community, and there's this community here, the fiction podcast community, and they have so much in common in terms of the ethos of both those communities. But yet there isn't any overlap in terms of like web series people aren't listening to fiction podcasts. Fiction podcast people aren't watching web series. And he said, why not bring them together? Because fiction podcasts don't have anything like this. They have conventions, they have, but no one's given fiction podcasts the film festival treatment.
Yeah.
Until now. So that's going to be our new thing in September. So
I'm so excited for you. And I mean, in 2020, fiction podcasts have really blown up. They really have. I
we learned the importance of audio.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and who knows
we could
where
film
that
anything, but yeah.
Exactly. I just wrapped up a musical podcast. So it's a fiction podcast, but it's also a musical. And it's so interesting how all of these creatives that have been shut in their houses, they've had to come up with something. I mean, that's one of the reasons I started this podcast, is because I wanted to feel connected to all the talented performers, because I missed them. Like, I just felt like I was just chilling in my room with my plants, and we need each other's energy in order to like rejuvenate and like see, oh, they did that. Okay, cool. Okay, that's how they did. Okay, cool. I can do that. Which leads me to my next question, because you're a really good businessman, and I read up a little bit about you on the LinkedIn and stuff, like social media strategist. You've done the marketing thing, like you have tools to be able to grow yourself as a brand, which is super important. So it leads to my question of, for the listener out there, what advice would you give to them when they think of, God, I'm an actor, I'm a I'm a singer, I'm a filmmaker, but like I don't know if I can do all that like other stuff. What advice would you give to that person that's a little fearful about tackling the beast that is all of that? What advice would you give for that person?
First of all, is if you are fearful, you gotta get past that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the beauty of where we are now, and I mentioned this, I think, in one of my remarks last year at the festival, is that when the WebFest circuit started, it was to celebrate these people that can now create without any limits, you know, which is why you have so many women and people of color and LGBTQ and so many people that are creating, because if you have the talent and the will to do it, and I'm paraphrasing my first year's best of the best we ever met, Anderson Theater people, he said that having been in film for 20 years to varied degrees of success, he came into web series and all you need is the talent and the will to do it. No one telling you you can't, no bureaucracies, no, you have to have an agent or we won't read your script. It's like you can just do it. So embrace that, take advantage of that. If you are a creator and you're doing stuff, embrace that, take advantage of that, and use all the tools that you have. I mean, Facebook is an outstanding tool, Instagram is an outstanding tool. I mean, there's TikTok. You don't have to go on all of them if you can't juggle all that, because it is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
you know, get yourself out there, use hashtags, ask your friends to support you, ask your family to support you, ask your family and friends to put the stuff out there. And do not be afraid to do it. And you know, the key is don't bore people with stuff that they never heard of or stuff that they don't know too much about, even if you love it. And the reason I say that is because you wanna get that fan base in, right? And so I learned a while ago that just posting stuff about Neem's themes, about my show, for example, or just posting stuff about the festival with the date that the next episode comes out or an award that we won or whatever, that's going to get trite real quick with folks. Mm-hmm. Keep it interesting, post something funny. It can still be related to your content, but keep it something that is universal, that even someone who's not a fan of yours will be attracted to it, become a fan of yours. The best way I can describe it is, who doesn't love a good cover band, right? But if you're a cover band, you start recording your own music, and you have music on iTunes, and you have music on SoundCloud, you have music everywhere, and you're singing, and you're performing at a bar, you're still going to sing some covers because someone's going to pass by the bar and they'll hear, you know, Matchbox 20 or Third Eye Blind or whatever, something from the 90s. This is cool. Let me go in there and listen to that. And when they're in there, then you kind of like every 2 or 3 songs in the set, you drop your own
An original. Yeah.
An original. And say, hey, check us out on iTunes or whatever. But you got to bring them in. So find a way to bring them in and then keep them there. But don't be afraid to use social. You have to use social media. I mean, it's what we have. Otherwise, you're gonna go back to being beholden to all the layers that we had to be beholden to before. I mean, and we don't have to anymore. We can create now and get our work out there. I mean, millions of people have seen my work.
I know, 25 million. I counted. Yeah, I went to everyone's computer and I counted.
on you know, various projects that I've done, whether it's for you know, I've done PSAs for New York City, or whether it's the millions of people that have watched my show, or the stuff or in festivals all over the world. There's been millions of people have seen my content, and it's why I was able to launch a WebFest and have that credibility that comes with people like, oh, people who didn't know me, you can look me up and know who I am. People who didn't know me, like, oh, Neem is starting a WebFest. I'm interested. So make sure that you create your brand and use your social media for your brand. It's cool throwing an occasional pic of you playing softball or whatever, just to be interesting. But make sure that your brand is consistent with who you are. I mean, I see people, I go to their page and there's so much clutter before you get to anything about their work.
Mm-hmm.
Just like clutter, 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 clutter. When people discover you, they should know who you are.
Amen to that. Clear message. Well, Neem, I do have a question that I like to ask everyone on the show. Just because it's Eff Your Fears, 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 fears. When you feel fear start to creep into your own life, what do you do to combat that?
Here's the thing. I don't know that you can necessarily combat fear. I teach this to my own children. You don't do things because you're not afraid. You do things in spite of being afraid. I've been skydiving, for example. And people are like, oh man, I don't know how you did it. I'm scared. I'm like, I was scared. What do you think? I did it because I was just like, skydiving, no big deal. I did it in spite of being scared. And it's the perfect analogy because you're terrified, right, beforehand. It's kind of like step by step, right? There's a little trepidation, whatever, when that plane comes down, and you get on the plane, and then they slide open the door, and they say, "You ready? Remember what we told you?" Oh, and they start kind of like shouting instructions that you one last time. Now the door's open. There's nothing that can prepare you for that. You're like, "Oh my god!" But when you jump,
Mm-hmm.
the first 3 seconds is like and then the euphoria takes over, and you're no longer afraid. Now you're in the moment. So I would say Eff Your Fears, yeah, but that doesn't mean there's going to be things you're not afraid of. I'm just saying do it in spite of being afraid, because once you're in it, you will you'll feel that rush and you feel that euphoria, and you might fail. To be clear, and that's okay too, because I mean, my WebFest, thank God, has been well received. But I've done other things that weren't. And does that mean that I don't do this because that didn't work? So you might fail, but the only people that don't fail are people that don't do anything. If you want to be the person that doesn't do anything, or do you want to be the person that succeeds sometimes and fails a lot, but succeeds sometimes? And so it's that's how you got to look at it.
I love that. I love that. It reminds me of when Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore jumped out of a plane and went skydiving. And Drew Barrymore was all nervous, and Cameron Diaz was just shooting down. I got all of this by our audiobook. I'm repeating verbatim. And they come down and they had this great skydiving experience, and Drew was all worried about it. But then they go to lunch, and Cameron takes a bite of her burrito, and as she bites in, she chews on a piece of glass. They were in the sky, jumped from the sky, jumped out of a plane, and were absolutely fine. Yet they went to get a meal and ended up with glass. Like, you never know. You never know. And it ties with it. I just love that. Neem.
You never know. That actually, I'm going to use that story.
Right?
It's a great story.
Isn't it great? It's in her book.
Story.
Yeah, it's in her book. I was talking about that during Patrick Oliver Jones's. I do a nice little monologue about that just because I thought, what an interesting little concept. If you're a content creator and you want to get your stuff out there and you've got a web series and you want to share it with the world, you got to go to the New Jersey Web Fest. Filmway. Is it Filmway? It's Filmway, right?
Filmfreeway.com/NJWebFest.
Film Freeway.
And if you're a fiction podcast creator, NewJerseyWebFest.com.
I
Submit
love
your
that.
fiction podcast there. And if you have your musical fiction podcast, go ahead and submit it there.
We're still recording that. I've got one more song still to do.
All right,
but I will let them know for
now,
next year.
Well, now you know 2022.
Yeah.
Because we feel like the synergy that will come from those communities coming together. This is not, I don't know myself or any of my colleagues who are web fest creators who are, making any money doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You do it because you love this stuff. You want to be part of the growth. Because it's great for you if you're the WebFest founder to be part of that community and to be able to grow that. And it's great for you to see people that are saying, I've had people leave my WebFest and, hand to heart, that told me that I was done. I was creatively drained. I went to your festival and now we're making another season. What's better than that?
I can't think of anything.
and like with tears in their eyes, telling me I couldn't do this anymore. I just felt like, anyway. So that means the world to me. And so what we now with this next step, the ideal would be that a fiction podcast adapts to web series because they attended our web festival and connected with web series creators, or a web series adapts to a fiction podcast to reach even more people. I mean, there's so many things, and that's what we want. We want to bring that together. So we want to give, like you said, people feel like Hollywood royalty at our festival. We're happy we're able to do that for web creators, and we want to do that for fiction podcast creators who never really have that. And so now everyone's going to get a chance to feel the magic at the New Jersey office.
Feel the magic. Oh, Neem, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Big fan.
Thank you. Oh, I'm a big fan of yours. A really big fan of yours. Why don't you go ahead and let people know how they can find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Neem_Basha, follow my show at Neem's Themes, and follow at NJ Webfest. Same on Facebook. Follow Neem's Themes, Comedy and Conversation for daily laughs and jokes and things that make you go,
I love that. Thank you.
And follow New Jersey Web Festival on Instagram and on Facebook and Twitter. And yeah, we're on all the things. So we're there. We're at your disposal if you have any questions, if you have anything. I, as Ashley can tell you, am very approachable and attainable. So feel free to reach out to me or anybody on the team. We're super excited for New Jersey Web Fest 2021 to see what this year holds for you.
So am I. I'm ready to share the magic. Hashtag share the magic. I love it. I love it. Awesome. So what'd you think of the episode? It was fun, right? Go ahead and click the like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, do that too. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this episode. If you're listening to us over on any of the podcasting services, leave a review. Rate the show. If you liked it, share it with a friend. Every performer who comes on this show has got a completely unique story, and I'm so grateful that they share them with me and with you. So I hope you're enjoying the podcast. I thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, Ashley Monique Menard. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon.